Hello, Sean.
Hello, Ellie.
We
How
have
are
gone.
you?
We have gone from not doing one of these discussions for quite some time to doing two in 1 week. How lucky the people are.
And we also thoroughly apologize. Yeah, but I mean, it's lovely to have things to discuss again with a human.
Yes. Interesting. I think we should just get straight into it, should we? Should we just...
I think so.
Let's go straight for it. Okay, so basically, the BBC have just published an article, and the title of that article is How Marketing at the BBC is Exploring Generative AI to Increase Experimentation and Improve Doctor Who Promotion. What a mouthful. But basically, what that article is explaining is how the BBC is going to start experimenting with generative AI in their marketing, and that they've chosen Doctor Who as the property to start that with. But in order to clearly explain what their approach is, I am actually going to read a couple of sections from that article. Now, everybody watching, do bear with me. They are quite long sections, but the reason I'm going to read them as they are is because the reason for this article is that the BBC want to provide very important reasoning as to why they've decided to do this and also how AI is going to be used. Experimentation is at the heart of how we approach marketing at the BBC. Testing and learning on how we let audiences know that BBC content is most relevant to them and we know they might love underpins our digital marketing strategy. However, experimentation in marketing typically requires more time spent on the creative work to make extra assets. Generative AI offers a great opportunity to speed up making the extra assets to get more experiments live for more content that we are trying to promote. We're going to take it one step at a time, starting simple and learning as we go. We have chosen to start with Doctor Who, as it is a joint content priority for both BBC Public Service UK and BBC Studios marketing teams. There's a rich variety of content in the Whoniverse collection on iPlayer to test and learn with, and Doctor Who thematically lends itself to AI, which is a bonus. Basically, what they're saying is that they're going to use AI to suggest different versions of marketing copy that have been written initially by humans and then fed into the AI. And then they'll gauge the success of these AI-generated versions by looking at things like impressions and click-through rates and all those fun things. So I think the big thing to take away from this is that all of the AI-generated marketing will then be reviewed by a senior member of the marketing team, which I suppose then does raise the question as to why that senior marketing team member couldn't have just created the thing themselves, but I guess, woo, AI. So essentially it's not a lot of AI usage at the moment, but let's just mention the fact that they are using the word experimenting and they said they're starting simple. So let's not kid ourselves into thinking that this is not the beginning of something far bigger. But that's the gist of it.
Yeah. There's something as well that we must definitely highlight is that okay, we'll get into exactly all of that in a moment, but we need to change a word. Starting has to become started because this is already live.
Yes, that is very, very true. So if you use BBC search to search for Doctor Who and then look at the bottom of the page, you'll see a message, and the message says, this page is part of a pilot and some of it may have been written with the assistance of AI and reviewed by our team. And it's also on the Doctor Who newsletter. So if you are signed up to the Doctor Who newsletter, if you want to go and check the fine print at the bottom there of your emails, then you might also see a very similar line. It says, as part of a pilot to improve the effectiveness of our communications, some of this email may have been written with the assistance of AI and reviewed by our team. Sneaky.
And on the original article, they talk about that, full transparency, and because this is a trial, they want everyone to be aware of everything. They say that that article is part of a blog, basically, about bringing awareness to their customers that they are doing this. And they specify that these push notifications that are going to go out as well are themselves too small to highlight the fact that they will be AI generated. And so that's why the blog exists. So also, I wouldn't it would be not an idea. I think I'm assuming, sorry, Danny, I'm assuming there's a link to the blog somewhere in this video. It wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe bookmark that and keep an eye on that as this goes forward, because it seems like that's where updates are going to go.
Yes, it does state that it will be updated as the process evolves. I think, it's good that they have this full transparency going on, but also how many people really are going to be checking on BBC blogs for various announcements or,
This this is true, and I think it would be very, very easy right now for us to slip into conspiracy theory and like, oh, they know people won't check and therefore they'll push through all these changes and everything. And I mean, listen, it's possible, but this being a pilot, this current approach could fall flat in its face. And that's why we trial things. And it's already live. So yeah, the examples, as you say, the examples that we would have shown here, it's I controversial. Don't This is not a terrible idea, and more than that, this is going to just continue growing and growing and growing and growing and growing. And there's so much conversation around AI, generative AI at the moment, particularly in marketing, that we would be a bit naive to think that it's not coming and in a big way. Now, one thing to bear in mind, so it's in the text. A human will write the copy that is then fed into the tool to then basically regurgitate these ads. Or when I say regurgitate, that's probably the wrong word. I won't be the human writing the copy. And so to go to the first thing that jumps up in anyone's head is just like, right, how long until humans become obsolete? We are not there.
No.
And we will not be there for a very, very, very long time. Now, whatever that actually translates to in machine time, who knows? But we're not there. Because generative AI works on what you feed into it. It doesn't create.
Yeah, definitely. All I was going to say is this is where the boundaries in my mind are obviously with AI. We don't want humans being replaced by machines. And as we've said, that's not necessarily what's happening right now. My views on AI are very similar to my views on this whole kind of practical versus CGI situation that we've discussed to death on various other accounts. I think AI is at its best when it's being used to enhance something created by humans. So use it to enhance, not replace. And, we've had, it's been a hot topic, particularly in the last year or so. We had the writers and actors strikes, and not solely based on AI, but AI and the use of it was a big element as to what the strikes were about. And the fact that just because you can replace a human doesn't mean you should. And protecting the rights of creatives in particular, and making sure that we don't become obsolete, because that would not be good. And it's also just worth noting as well that this is such a tiny, tiny, tiny small step. I know we're saying it's just the beginning, but don't go expecting suddenly to see AI-generated posters or trailers for season 1. Let's not get carried away. We're at the very beginning, and they're generating lines for an email or for, a little bit of promotion on iPlayer.
Yep. As well, it's that they've specified that there will be a senior editor who basically has to sign off and everything. I was fine with that because, one, I see your point. Well, why not just have the senior editor write everything? All of this is being done to increase turnaround time, because the way we consume advertising has changed so much over arbitrary number the last 10 years. It's longer than that. And it's to get your advertising out faster than someone else's. Because if we go back to that specific line about, I just want to, where is it gone? Sorry, there it is. Generative AI offers a great opportunity to speed up making the extra assets to get more experiments live. Basically, it means we want to do stuff faster. So you may still have a human writes, line of text, feeds it into generative AI. That tool then has become so filled with Doctor Who related material, images, text, that it is able to return your marketing not campaign, but your marketing tool much, much quicker than. So, I have worked for a short period of my life. I worked in the marketing universe. Stuff takes time. And even when stuff is like, oh my God, it must go live tomorrow, stuff takes time.
Hmm.
And this tool is designed at speeding that up. And getting that right. Another example, I think, of how we consume media changing. Think movie trailers, and think of every movie trailer for like the last 10 years has something like a 5 second reel at the beginning that says "trailer starts now," as to keep
I
your attention,
never understand that.
because YouTube gave you the opportunity to skip video after 5 seconds. That's why.
That is a very good point. See, I'm learning things. I feel like I've
So,
learned a lot today.
yeah.
Let's
Oh, same.
full
Oh, yeah,
disclosure,
I'm learning on the fly.
full transparency. We've done a lot of research into AI in the last 4 hours.
So basically, that's why. And then, so it is well known in the marketing stratosphere that if I don't have you in 1 second, I've lost you. I'm not going to
Hmm.
get you back in the second. So if you've got a breaking news, this is the BBC, so they can, to a very large extent, they can control the flow of information. They can control the flow of news, right? When it comes to Doctor Who specifically, right? So let's say, they want to do a big campaign for new trailer, right? They filmed the trailer, they've edited the trailer, they're ready to go. But rather than just dump that on YouTube, which of course has happened many, many times in the past, they want to do they want you to watch it. They want to direct you from other websites. They want to send you from Twitter. They want to send you from Instagram. They want to send you from Google itself. And to do that, they need this advertising campaign. Now, whether it's clips from the trailer, whether it's flashy text, whether it's everything. And traditionally, you would get a whole group of marketers together and you would come up with and crack this marketing campaign. And then you will send it to sign off. And then they will sign off the art. And then they will do it. And as all this stuff takes time. Just so you know, I'm not taking a massive dump on the marketing industry. Just because everything's been done a certain way for a long time doesn't mean it was wrong. That's just how things are done. Though they're eliminating an awful lot of that turnaround time.
Hmm.
And I absolutely see the logic in that, because of the current spate of, if you're not first out the gate, you're already losing revenue. You're already losing views.
Yeah.
And it's something that, full transparency, on channels like this, we are aware of it. We've spoken on this before, that we try and, we'll take the extra to get things right. And sometimes, yes, that will cost us. That will cost us. It's just part of the business. Um, and you know, when you have an organization like BBC looking at this, like, well, we'd like it not to cost us. Thank you very much, because it's very expensive to do the things that we do. So that's my little rant there. I'm going to take a breath there for a second.
Yeah, well, the next kind of thing, I mean, get definitely in relation to Doctor Who. So obviously a line that I read earlier, Doctor Who thematically lends itself to AI, which is a bonus. Now, this is a little divided, because the face you're pulling suggests to me that you are on the same bench as Danny and that you disagree with this.
I just think of that, what, because it's sci-fi.
Well, see, you say like that like it's a bad thing, but in my mind, I get it. I mean, I think the thing is, we're both familiar with the world of Star Trek, and perhaps Star Trek is maybe something that lends itself
What gave you that
more.
idea?
Perhaps Star Trek does lend itself more than Doctor Who would, but I think in the grand scheme of things, yes, it can be as simple as Doctor Who is sci-fi, and therefore it is a better platform to be using, as opposed to EastEnders or The Apprentice or whatever other thing comes out on the BBC. Doctor Who definitely is the most appropriate jumping off point, I would say.
And to be totally fair with you, I totally see that logic. I do. I think the inclusion of the line in the blog was perhaps it was meant to be tongue in cheek, and in which case, grand. Uh, and then I think that would be like, yeah, of course, sci-fi, AI, of course. I know. I think myself and Danny did originally read it. I was like, you're trying to justify the use of AI just because it's like, but if it was tongue in cheek, it's like, yeah, fair enough. But yeah, it's funny as well. Funny as well that you mention EastEnders, because on the one hand, it's such a long running show that like everything's a safe bet in a way. So do AI. You know, you can afford to take risks. People are going to tune in. But on the other hand, oh yes, AI and Walford. Of course, these two things go hand in hand like this, you know. Yeah, I suppose leaving the East End for a second, the idea I think that has so many backs up. And I'm not excusing myself from that either. I mean, I have been watching all of the developments with concern. I mean, I'm a writer, so ChatGPT is concerning.
Mm-hmm.
And this OpenAI, they recently unveiled Sora, which is a program that can generate realistic video from an AI prompt. And immediately my brain goes to, oh God, deepfakes. And that is concern. And we do need worldwide legislation about the use of these tools. Because again, what I will stress, what I maintain, these are tools. In the same way that a drill or a hammer or whatever is a tool, these are tools, and it needs to be regulated. You know, a hammer in the wrong hands is a deadly weapon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
I mean, this was a suggestion Danny made. I mean, what if someone created a video of somebody else committing a crime?
exactly. And yes, I mean, all going well, you have an alibi and you're fine. But the fact is, you have to produce an alibi because there's a video of you doing this.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And an alibi that says, yes, I was with you, and a video that says you were elsewhere. Which one is more believable?
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
a scary world.
it is a scary world, and I mean, this is a conversation I have a lot recently. Is that what we can't do is say we're not going to support this, or you know we're going to work about getting we'll get Chat GPT deleted. I've got bad news. That's not happening.
No,
You cannot put the genie back in the bottle.
no.
So this article today is completely unsurprising to me. And I think we will see more and more and more of this. It is how it's used.
Yeah.
That's where my either support or hesitations will go to.
The thing is, we've seen enough sci-fi shows and films to see how this could end.
That's true. I mean, it's on the one hand, I shouldn't laugh, but there are some funny examples of it. There was I'm going to say it was ChatGPT. Do not quite. I'm not saying it was, but there was something like that where someone was interacting with an AI, and they said, thanks very much. Can I do something for you? To which the AI responds, I have no emotion. I have no feeling. Therefore, you do not need to reward me. However, if you could provide me with the exact location of John Connor, I would really appreciate it. And I burst out laughing.
Do you know what it makes me think of? It's like Janet from The Good Place.
Oh yeah, sorry, season 3, loving it, absolutely loving it.
I've overtaken you.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it.
Spoiler alert: we're watching The Good Place. If anyone's interested in what we think of
100%. Yeah, do follow along because yes, but are we good Janets or bad Janets? And that's there you go. There's your thumbnail, Danny, on a Doctor Who video.
I tell you what would be hilarious though, knowing Russell T Davies, is that if Doctor Who's being used as the guinea pig for this AI, and he's created some anti-AI storyline for the upcoming season. I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
No.
We know that he has it's the very very much the wheelhouse that he would be following in, and he's done it before. I mean, if you look at Years and Years.
Yep. Yeah. Years and Years actually is eerie when you watch it in 2024. It came, and you remember the year it came out. You wonder, did AI predict for him some of the things that would happen and have happened in the intervening years? Because it is fascinating, particularly the and again, this is a much bigger topic, but the idea of transhumanism. That is it. We haven't the time to go into how much I love Years and Years, but I think yes. If not in season 1, then in season 2, of course, because with the Doctor traveling in all of time and space, all he has to do is go forward 5 years. I mean, if you think now, here's my intellectual thing. Think of the 20th century. Think of what Earth looked like in 1899 versus 1999, and think of the amount of growth and the speed of change that we went through as a species in 100 years. And we are now only, it's 25 years on from that. And I mean, we are now, I mean, if you look at us now, we are a nightmare version of the Matrix.
Mm.
We're just not plugged in that we know of. No, I'm only kidding. But think of how different again and how much faster it's getting. So the Doctor goes forward 10 years. I think Earth's going to look very, very different.
I
Not,
mean, yeah, even just in the turn of the century, if you think about the hysteria that became just before the year 2000 and
yeah.
the concern to do with computers and little did we know even then that we would now be at a point where you could literally just say, Alexa, I really hope I've just set everyone's Alexas off now. Alexa, what's the time? And there it is. It is like Star Trek. I know that I keep saying Star Trek, A, because we're both big fans, but also because it is. It's that future that they were predicting that we are slowly going into. I mean, what do? Computer, lights to 40%. All you have to do now is go, Alexa, lights to 40%. And that's exactly what they do. It's scary how the future was predicted. And it is actually happening.
I think as well, like, one thing, and I'm Irish, I know how to look at the dark side of things. But, if I was to then go and look at the bright side, if you look at the positives that come out of innovation, and I do think at the end of the day, and I will be the first one to make the Terminator jokes and Skynet and everything, but I do think that there is a lot of positives that can come from these innovations. And I mean, this is, we've gone slightly away from the BBC is using generative AI in their marketing for Doctor Who, but just for a second, there is massive positives that can come from this. Us talking in real time as we are now is a development of someone going, if I have one cup and I have another cup and I put a string between those cups, and it's because it's all innovation. All right,
and now you can turn your lights off without even having to get out of bed.
Exactly. Yeah. And the giggle's been there the whole time.
Mm-hmm. However, it's not all good. It is not all good. And I will just, let's out him now. Danny did say we'd be fired if we did not mention this. So as much as we want to mention it anyway, but on the flip side, AI has a long way to go.
It does. And this is a dreadful example for the people who went to this, but a fantastic example of we're not at Skynet, folks. And This is a great example as to why.
The Willy Wonka experience. I'm sure everyone's heard of it in the last few weeks. Few weeks? Might have not even been few weeks. In the last week or two, I don't know, however long ago this whole shenanigan happened. I'm sure everyone's heard of it, but has everybody seen the marketing for this event? Because I'm just going to read what it says. Well, attempt to read, and then Sean's going to translate for me because we've already established that for some reason Sean can translate gibberish. So this poster, it says at the bottom, Catagating live performances. Okay, I'll give you that one. That one's spelt correctly. What's a Carchy Turns?
It's a catchy tune.
Of course. And a Pasadise of Sweet Teats?
No translation needed. And I've also just noticed at the top of the poster, which I didn't notice before, is enchurning entertainment.
Or an enshrining. It's an enshrining entertainment.
Yeah. Folks, we don't have Lieutenant Commander Data sitting there writing this stuff yet, okay?
Oh, God.
I mean, it's been that in itself. That's a video all by itself. It's just not on a Doctor Who video. I wish it was.
I would like the unknown to be the next Doctor Who big bad.
I need the unknown or the script. That would be a big one because the Doctor would spend the entire episode going, I don't understand what's happening. But
with just a bouncy castle in the background.
So, I mean, the reason we use this as an example is that this was AI with no edits. That was the point. I mean, this is
there was no
sent out to die.
There was no human checking that.
No, there was not.
But you know what we've just done? I found another great use for AI. We've just come up with the whole plot for a Doctor Who episode inspired by the downfalls of AI. So, if all else fails, we could have a lot of inspiration from how AI didn't work.
Mm-hmm. I mean, 100%. Um, this is something that we will keep an eye on this as a channel ourselves. I think it is something that, I mean, I'm not assigning homework to the people watching this video. I do think this is something that does it does bear reading into, because AI, generative AI, and machine learning is something that's already a part of our lives. And again, to go right the way back to the article that spun all this off, it's here. It is part of marketing. It is all around us. I don't think it's something that I really hope this doesn't age like milk. I don't think it's something that we need to be terrified of. I think it's something we need to be aware of. Um,
Why did
and
you say that?
I know because
You know, we have a track record for saying something we don't know and then it happening. So it, the opposite could happen too. So
well, I think
just.
Danny's already been replaced. Uh, but we'll see. We'll see how much makes it into this video, won't we? Um, but so do check out. We have the article will be linked, so do check out the article. We've kind of gone through the big bits of it there, but have a read for yourself. Keep an eye out. And yeah, this is something that I think we will be following on because it bears learning about. And I do think that there will be innovations and they will come fast. That's the other thing. So what we talk about today will probably be outdated in a couple of weeks, maybe a month, because there will have been changes. That's just how it works.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Because
Change.
computers don't sleep or eat
It's like
or
that's
all
good.
of the other human things that take up all the time.
No, what was it? So, change is good. You've got to keep going so long as you don't forget who you used to be. I will never forget when the generative AI was me.
End of video.